Everybody, this is the show called Box Seats, where we talk about sports with comedians. We have a great conversation. We talk about the hottest topics of the day with obviously a funny spin. So without further ado, let me bring in the guys. My man Talent is in the building. What's up, T? How you doing, sir?
I'm Fantizo, baby. I'm in this joint, B.
Uh-oh, you got a new shirt on, and you're representing somebody else that ain't a Talent t-shirt. Are you feeling
Well,
all
you
right?
know, I spend money in other places.
You feeling all right? You
I
okay?
feeling all right. Well, I can't wait. I wear other clothes,
All right, all right. I just want to make sure you're the real Talent because I seen too many movies of carbon copy people where they play some. I, I might
It's
even ask
pretty,
you a question only Talent would know. But I might be, you know what? Only that's how I know he's the real you.
you watch too much TV.
My man Fig is also building. Fig, what's going on?
Hey man, it's a great Monday. The weekend was stupendous. And Talent said he spent money in other places. I'd tell you where, but this is a family type show.
Oh man, it's the show. So while we wait for all the other guys to join in, man, there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend. I mean, a lot of sports that happened over the weekend. A lot of crime that happened over the weekend too. I'm gonna jump into that in a second. But in baseball news, man, T. Aaron Judge and Albert Pujols have been making a whole lot of noise. Aaron Judge be coming up on 50 home runs. Albert Pujols, 42 years old, about to break the Hank Aaron all-time record and everything else. I want to ask you, man, how come it's not being compared to Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire? You think it has a lot to do with steroid era, or what
Yeah, I
do you?
think absolutely. It's all about steroid era because remember we talked about this last week on the show for a brief minute. We all admit that call it what you want. That was the most exciting years in baseball. Like,
Right.
Guys that wouldn't sit down and watch a full game or a full series, they was watching because it was almost like, how when that lottery keep going up and people like, yo, it's 200 million now, right? And then like 3 days later, it's 340. That's how the baseball home run thing was and the whole steroid era was. You was like keeping a tab and a count on who was doing what. So I think that's the only reason it's not getting that attention because the era's gone.
Yeah, but Fig, baseball needs that type of hype, I would think.
Yeah, man. Talent said it was the era where they had the baseball home run derby playoff, if you will, was the most exciting year in baseball, except for the several years that the Yankees actually won. That was the year where it was exciting to younger people because look, the most exciting play in baseball is the home run. The only thing that supersedes that is a home run with four guys on base, which we call a grand slam. The home run is it for baseball. So if you take that out, you basically got professional badminton.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say badminton?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the crazy thing about this Talent is that baseball needs the hype. I figured they'd be all over this. It's a great reason for them to join in it. And then a friend of mine texted me was over the weekend and said maybe it's because literally because you have two minority players running, and the last time Albert Pujols, obviously being white, that baseball was all behind it. And I was like, I didn't even look at it from that perspective, honestly, because I don't look at it like things like Clinton Giants, black and white. But then I started thinking about it this morning. I was like, maybe that is it. You know what I mean? Maybe because Mark McGwire is in the running, only with Sammy Sosa until obviously to the steroid thing came out. Maybe that was the issue. So I wanted to ask you, see if either one of you all were going to touch on that. But
I don't think I never looked at it like a race thing. I think that because if you really look at it, it's bigger than just we say steroids all the time, but it's bigger than that. The game itself was hanging on the balance of steroids. So steroids was the transitioning of the rule of what would be in the future. Remember? So it's like, it was that argument, it's acceptable, it's not acceptable. So we were on the cusp at the same time of where the league was going to go for the future. You know what I mean? So there was that argument of you take steroids, automatically you're this super player. No, you still need hand-eye coordination. You still need the baseball skill to make a difference. You don't take the steroids and every ball's going out of the park. You still need to apply your baseball skills to playing the game. So I think because it was in the cusp of transitioning to what the game would be, that made it bigger news too.
Yeah, I agree with that. What are you gonna say, Fig?
I think, you know, the thing what I think turns a lot of baseball fans off is that baseball aficionados are pretty, they're really like hypocritical, because, you know, you like the steroid era when it's beneficial to you, but then the players that, you know, you deem as using you know, performance enhancing drugs like the steroids, then you want to penalize them. But when they retire, you don't want them to get into the Hall of Fame. I'm like, you know, so you either you want it or you don't. You know what I mean? And then the players that should be there are not there. You know, a la a player like Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was one of the greatest baseball players that ever played the game, and he probably made a case for the Hall of Fame while he was still skinny. Mm-hmm. In the very beginning of his career, he was making a case because he was an exceptional baseball player. And I mean, it's just too much personal feelings in baseball that where they could take away an award or an achievement because a person doesn't like you. And it takes away from what sports is supposed to be, which is a meritocracy.
I would say this: Barry Bonds to me is the greatest player to ever play the game, in my opinion. But you know, that's just, what do I know? You know, I only watched baseball since I was 5. But what do I know? So T, here we go. The next story up, man. I don't know if you heard about this one, but Paul Pogba, the World Cup winner and a midfielder for his team, was the victim of threats and extortion attempts by people around him. He got extorted. Now, I'm going to say this again. He got extorted by his brother and his best friends. They were holding serious things about blackmail over him and had been. They even forced a kidnapping of him, attempted kidnapping with wearing masks. And it was his brother and his best friends did all of that over him because he's a multimillionaire. You know what I mean? He's earned like $80, $90 million in his career. And his own friends and family did that to him. What's your take?
Well, you got to stop doing extortable stuff. Like, you got to stop doing stuff that people can go, hey, man, I got this. Like, all the stuff I did, bro, somebody could come and go, hey, man, we're going to tell them you did all. So, they're just going to see I'm freaky, but I ain't breaking no laws. I ain't hurt nobody. I ain't go against no will. I colored within the lines. So it's like, the more stuff you do, and I never understood that. You know, people, you got to be smarter than that. Like, first of all, just be a good person in general. You wouldn't have all the things that people can hold over your head. Second of all, those things that you do have, why does somebody know that? Why, you know what I mean? Why are we doing the things that we would be ashamed of with witnesses and people that could say one day, give me the money, or I'm telling everybody that your girlfriend was a goat for 2 years.
Oh, that's hilarious. But Fig, at the end of the day, this jealousy runs deep when your own family members and your friends are kidnapping you and extorting you, right?
I'm not sure, Frank. I wouldn't use the word jealousy. I'd put greed. Greed and envy are the words that come to me. It's like Talent said. I think when people get extorted, they actually care about what other people think. And the vast majority of it is that what you're trying to hide, everybody else is pretty much trying to hide the same thing. Criminal stuff aside. Like, if you do something criminal and you want to hide it, I get it. But anything other than criminal, cheating, like Talent says, some freaky stuff, you know, some of the stuff I got from Talent, like pushing a refrigerator on a young lady and stuff like that and see how she like it. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, but your brother, like, you can't hide stuff from your family. I don't think.
Yeah.
That's envy and jealousy. Hey, listen, I hate to keep going biblical, but it starts way back in biblical days, because remember, Cain killed his brother Abel. That's jealousy, man. So basically what we're saying is, this has been going on since the beginning of time. We just added money into it because back then they didn't really use money. They used a means of exchange. You know, you give me a cow, you know, you can marry my daughter type thing. You understand what I'm saying? So we didn't have cash dollars. You know what I mean? But people always been envious and jealous, and they do things because of that. And sometimes it goes as far as murder.
Mike Sean has joined the show. Mike, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. What's going on?
So here's the topic we're talking about. There was a soccer player. His name is Paul Pogba. He's a World Cup winner. He was the victim of threats and extortion attempts, and he even had an attempted kidnapping by his brother and his friends. They were wearing masks and everything. So we're talking about They ran up in the house on him, they extorted him and everything else. And being that he has 80 million, everything else, just we're talking about like how sick and sad is that when your own family member and your best friends gather together to extort you. What's your take on that, man?
Damn. Wow. That's like football, soccer is on a whole different level because I've watched documentaries on people getting killed and stuff like that. So it's on a whole different level. Man, I got like
Unless you speechless.
No, it brings me to even the Biggie Smalls, Anthony Mason situation. Like it brings me to craziness that goes on when somebody is famous, and somebody's elite at what they do for what they do. There's a chance that anything could happen. There's a chance that anything can happen. Like I'm not even shocked at this story, which we should be. We should be shocked, but we're not. Because we've seen this happen to everybody that is elite at whatever they do.
Yeah.
And the jealous, like Fig said, the jealousy comes in and it just goes crazy.
Yeah,
people
like
really
Fig
don't
said,
want to see people succeed.
Yeah, but like Fig said, it goes all the way back to biblical days. Whether you want to believe in the biblical,
yeah, when he brought up the biblical, that's amazing.
That's a great point. That's a great point. With Cain and Abel situation, it's a great point because that's what it really started back then. It goes back to then. All right, now in other news, talent, still talking about crime in sports. You know, I saw this flash. Yeah, crime in sports. I saw this happen over the weekend. I was like, wow, rookie running back, Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson was carjacked while in D.C., got shot twice in the leg. When I first saw the story, it came across my screen as life-threatening, but he got shot in the leg twice. He's going to be fine, everything else. His coach came up and said that he's going to be fine, everything else. But, man, we're talking about literally this dude ain't played one NFL game yet and driving around D.C. and already got carjacked. So what's your take on that, T? What's your thoughts?
The first thing come to mind is they still carjacking?
Right?
I thought it was played out.
They still 15 years, right?
Well, then again, it's DC. So, you know, they do get things late. Because, you know, New Jersey was the capital of it. And then it played out. So, but I guess
Jersey City.
Yeah, people get things different. It's like hearing a good song, the remix. You down south, like, I never heard this. It's late. So anyway, it's sad. First of all, you know, guys is brand new to the thing, to the system, to the league, about to be in another, tax bracket. Do your thing, make a name for yourself, and you started making a name for yourself in the wrong way. That's why I think you got to be careful, man. What we need to implement, which is going to be hard over the years, is you need to really do a breakdown of people, where they come from, personalities, all that stuff, in the cities that they're going to. Mm-hmm. We really need to be more conscious of that. You know how we were just saying about basketball, how Mike mentioned once so-and-so played in New York, it was over. It's bad for them to come back to home with all the distractions of depending on who they are. I think this might be a case of that, man, because carjacking is not an accidental thing. That means you had to be hanging at a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah, I don't know what it is in Jersey, and I think this is the reason why I got played out quickly, Fig, is because there's an automatic, like in Massachusetts, it's guaranteed. If you do attempted or carjacking, it's guaranteed off the rip 15 years. You know what I mean? And then they attack on additional crimes after that. You know what I mean? There's no concurrent. So 15 years plus the gun charge, you could be looking at 20, 25 years for one attempted carjacking. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what played it out. You know what I mean? What's your take on this, Vic?
It's just sad, man, because you steal a car, what you gonna do with it?
Right.
It's just like, a car's not something you can steal and hide it. You see what I'm saying? You can't take it into your house and put it in a drawer in your dresser and stuff. Like, it's a vehicle. It's hard to conceal. So if you're stealing vehicles, you got to have some place to take it to, a chop shop or some ship where they're going to take it overseas and you never see it again and stuff like that. And it puts me in the frame of mind is that, which is also sad, is that when you come from a certain kind of community or neighborhood and you make a certain amount of money, you have to leave, because basically you can't go around people that are starving with bags of food. You just can't. You got to leave the community that you come from. And if you're smart, you have to take the people that are closest to you with you, because then it comes that whole kidnapping, extortion, and all these other things that go with it, because people will do whatever they can to get what it is that they want. And my advice, if you buy a vehicle and somebody tries to carjack you, give it to them. That's what insurance is for.
Mike, when you hear about this, man, it gets ugly really quickly, because at the end of the day, the dude didn't play one NFL game. He ain't even he's still on a rookie contract. You know what I mean? I don't understand the thought process in this, but what's your take on this, bro?
I got carjacked in Jersey City, and I just told them, change the oil. Like, just
Oh, shit.
I was like, we're overdue on the oil. Like, he said, get out the car. I said, cool, but understand that you need to change the oil, because this is not going to be good for you. Like, at the end of the day, as the carjacker, I was like, this ain't going to be nice. Like, for real, go to Jiffy Lube, go wherever you got to go.
Mike, like, how far are you taking it, guys? Can you change the oil?
And well, if you're driving out the city, you should really change the oil right now. Like, it's not going to be good for you. So that's how I dealt with it. I was like, goodbye.
You guys still using the chop shop on 78?
Wow. I see. That's why I do these
And
guys.
that's a true story. That's a true story. Once the gun comes to the window and you don't know if it's a fake gun, real gun, you have no idea. It was Kennedy Boulevard. And I was like, go ahead.
It's always Kennedy Boulevard.
It's always Kennedy Boulevard. I was like, go ahead, take it. Just
hey, Mike, you know what's crazy? You wouldn't even need a gun for me. Like,
no.
I'm like that. Like, get out. Okay.
Yeah, get out. The word get out, the phrase get out means, I'm like, all right, take the car. Go ahead.
I came this close to being carjacked in Jersey, man. I was on my way to do a show. I forget the street it is, but it's like an industrial, got like a cemetery on one side and then like industrial places on the other. And I'm driving up the street in the nighttime. I'm on my way to a show, and I see this guy crossing the street. And cars are like stopping and trying to go around him. And when I got to him, I actually saw the guy had a gun in his hand. I hit the gas, I sped up, I drove around him, and I took off. But I realized after, I was like, yo, I'm in Jersey. This dude was trying to carjack me, man. But just my instincts, man, I just drove around him and just kept going. He was coming in the middle of traffic. We were on two-way street. He's walking across traffic. And by the time he got to me, it's like where he was in front of me. I wasn't going to stop, though. Not where I was. No, I was like, nah, I drove around him. But Jersey was notorious.
People like you annoy me, because my best friend in the world is Jay Black, right? That's my best friend. And they tried to carjack the car while I was in the truck with him, and he wanted to fight back. And I'm like, why? Like, why are we fighting back? Like, what are we doing here? Well, neither one of us had a gun or anything. And he was like, it's going down. I said, no, it's not. No.
I like folks like you, Mike. Like, I'm not fighting for you. I'm not
for no car.
No, I'm like, I know you got insurance. Like, I don't even know why we talent like to fight. It's like Tell on the low. Tell is the dude that wants to fight back. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
he ain't
I'm
doing
good.
All right, so
no.
let me keep it moving. Let me keep moving. T. And also Friday we was talking about the Buffalo Bills punter, Matt Ariza, who was in a situation with a gang rape of a 17-year-old girl while he was still in college. Well, the Buffalo Bills over the weekend released him. No surprise, because we did say that they were going to release him. Here's the thing that stood out to me, T, is the Buffalo Bills knew for months about this. They knew for days. They know for weeks. They knew for months about this charge, but only when the story became public, they ended up releasing him in 24 hours. What's your thought about the Buffalo Bills as an organization doing that kind of move when the news became public?
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. That's everybody does that. Like, you could be with a girl, you know who she messed with before. You don't like it, but you're dealing with it until it becomes public. You dealing with it, nobody know how stupid you look yet until somebody go, that's Jamal's old girl. Jamal used to smash that. You be like, and I don't want to see you no more. Well, you been? I told you, Jamal. Yeah, but now everybody knows. So I got to make a move. Now that everybody knows, one thing with me and you know, once you get public, now I got to save face. That's what the team's doing. They knew, but it was on a hush. So, go to practice, keep punting. And when that joint hit public, it was like, bring the punter in here. But how did they find out?
How did they find out?
I don't know, but I'm just going to keep my head down. No. Punch your ass out. Am I lying, fellas?
No.
We put up with a lot that if it ain't public, we try to do our thing. But the minute it's public, things have a way of making you feel like they make you look a certain way, and you have to react.
Yeah. Craig, what's your take?
I just don't know how this went on for so long, man. This dude really is, he had a job in the NFL, and this happened back in college. What happened then? It wasn't just him. It was him plus two, like three guys actually jumped on this 17-year-old young lady and raped her, man. And this dude, like, nobody did anything. Like nothing. Like, nobody said it. There was no charges pressed. Like, nothing. How did this dude get away with this? Yo, man, you know what it just says about the NFL? The NFL is a bunch of hypocrites. Because at the end of the day, they really don't care about what you do. They don't care about any kind of crime that you commit. They just don't want it publicized. They care about the court of public opinion. Civil court, criminal court, they don't care nothing about that. As long as it's not made public, as long as it's not made public, you can get a job in the NFL because they don't care what you do.
Yeah, that's kind of my take too. So what's your take on this, Mike? Because at the end of the day, they knew for months and sat on it.
Well, it's kind of funny because I heard them on ESPN say we shouldn't judge somebody until they go to court. And I was like, wow, that's funny because Deshaun Watson just got massages and we judged him. Like,
sure did.
We all, like, y'all joined in. Once again, Stephen A. Smith, once again with his best sellout quotes, says we shouldn't judge this punter. It's a gang rape, y'all. Like, Deshaun Watson had massages, and this is a gang rape.
And willing participants in those massages. Don't forget about that.
Yes, and willing participants in the massages and the whole nine. But now we're talking about, can you imagine if Watson was literally accused of a gang rape? Dog, he'd be in jail right now.
Under the jail.
He'd be locked up right now doing 15 years right now. But the white dude with the punter white dude can literally be like, okay, well, yeah, I think it was a misunderstanding. No, a massage can be a misunderstanding.
Right.
A gang rape can't be a misunderstanding.
Let's not forget about this major thing either. She was 17.
She was 17 years old. Deshaun Watson would be in jail for life right now.
That's the point I want to stick out. Let's not forget she was 17. She was legally
Stop with the
still a
stick out.
minor.
Stop with the stick out. But I got it.
You know, hey, listen. Do you know what the punishment should be for him, especially since he's a punter? Put him in the middle of town square and tie him up bent over, and everybody that walks by that disagrees with should be allowed to their foot up his behind.
You want to know something crazy? And then we're gonna leave this, and I'm gonna ask you another question. The second team, if he was a quarterback, he'd still be on the team. You know what I mean? Let's be.
If he was a good quarterback,
right? If he was a small franchise QB, he'd still be on the team. He wouldn't be released yet.
That's a big difference. If he was a top 10 quarterback,
right?
Oh, he'd definitely be on the team.
Yeah. They'll figure that out. You know what I mean? But a punter,
So talent,
that's right above Waterboy, ain't it?
Yeah. Peter King came out. Peter King came out over the weekend and said that the 49ers better not. He basically said they better not cut Jimmy G before Tuesday, or they're gonna regret it. Because if they regret it, he's gonna end up going to the Seattle Seahawks. He's been saying that. We've been talking about him going to Seattle Seahawks for weeks. We've been saying that. Seattle Seahawks have been sitting there saying that they haven't been having great. You know, their preseason games weren't great and everything else. I'm gonna ask you this, T. If he goes to the Seattle Seahawks, do you see him turning the franchise around the way Peter King? And Peter King is one of those NFL, guys who's been around, reporting the league and supposed to be one of those, pro reporters. You know what I mean? Supposed to know football. He thinks if he goes to Seahawks, he's gonna change his franchise. What's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I thought Jimmy G signed with Subway. I just saw a couple of commercials. Let's move ahead on that. I don't know. Conflict of interest. I don't think Jimmy G is your turn the franchise around guy. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been on some decent ass situation teams, and you couldn't even turn that around. So now you're talking about going to a Seattle and turning the franchise around. I wouldn't put my hard-earned money on that. I really wouldn't. But hey, stranger things have happened. But I just don't think he's that guy to turn around that.
And that says a lot because you bet money. So that's
all the time.
Yeah.
I just won a lot of money yesterday, by the way. Speaking of NFL.
On what?
On who?
Jets.
Oh, beating the
You
Giants.
bet a preseason game?
We'll get to that. Wait, what's your take on this, man? Should Jimmy G re-sign with should Jimmy G get cut and then sign with the Seahawks? Would that change the Seahawks franchise around? What you think?
Man, let me tell you this. Russell Wilson couldn't do anything with the Seahawks because they didn't have an offensive line. Jimmy G, the one thing that we know about him, I'm a Jimmy G guy. He's injury prone. So you put an injury prone quarterback on a football team with no real playmakers and no offensive line. Please, somebody tell me how that makes sense. Do you know what Peter King said? He said that Jimmy G is better than Trey Lance and Russell Wilson. This white injury-prone quarterback is better than those two black quarterbacks. That's all he said. And he said if Jimmy G goes to Seattle, he's going to turn the franchise around. Turn it around where? You don't got no playmakers and no offensive line. How you going to turn it around? He's going to be injured again.
Michael Sean, do you honestly have his take as Fig's take, or do you think Jimmy G is going to go to Seattle if he goes to Seattle and then turn their franchise around?
I think he's underrated. I think we kind of disrespect the fact that the dude has been to a Super Bowl and been to an NFC Championship game, and I'm not sure. None of us really know if he can make that happen and change Seattle. Like, we don't know, but he does have a skill set that when he is healthy, we forget Tom Brady has missed more time than Jimmy G. Like, Tom Brady has literally been out of the league for a year and a half because of injury. So that narrative that we keep putting on him is kind of crazy. Because there aren't too many quarterbacks. Peyton Manning missed 2 years. And we have never said Peyton Manning was injury prone. Yeah, but for some reason, the narrative is What was
Yeah,
the
I don't like those
No, but I'm
comparisons.
just saying that Tom Brady had that many injuries in a 20-year span. Jimmy G only been here a
Okay,
week.
so how about Peyton?
Peyton Manning had a decent career too. He
No,
played
but
a lot of years.
he had like Peyton Manning risked his life to come
Right.
back into the NFL.
Right,
Yeah.
he
So
did, but he
I
played a
think
lot of years though.
I think we
Well,
kind of like
this
put
is where we mess up. Pardon me. We got to
Did you-
stop.
he
We
said,
can't
"Pardon."
compare everybody to anybody, and vice versa. Think about what I'm saying here. Like we'll say,
yeah.
well, so and so could do so and so because so and so did so and so. That Negro ain't that Negro. Like I can't say, well, Fig should have played that game with the flu because Michael Jordan played with the flu. That was
Right.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that
This
makes
Fig.
sense.
The
Yeah,
Fig is
that makes
struggling at the house with picking out paint colors. So
Shut up.
we
How
gotta
you
stop.
know?
We gotta stop just saying that simple because that's a simple general brush over. Because some people are built one way and some people are definitely not built the way. And all we got to go on is what they show us. To be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
Jimmy actually showed us that when he's on a team, when he's healthy, he takes you into the playoffs.
Yeah, but
And that's
like
all we really want.
yeah, but like my man is saying on the side right now, I just read on the side real fast is that Jimmy G will have Lockett and DK Metcalf, and that would be a big difference. Even though he ain't gonna have an offensive line, but that'll be a big difference.
Hey, listen.
Like we forget Joe Montana got hurt. Like Joe Montana got knocked out by my Giants. Shout out to my man that knocked him out. I forgot his name. But he had to sit out for literally over a year. But we've never said Joe Montana is injury prone.
Right, because that's that one thing. Jimmy G keeps.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we keep watching Jimmy pause up, down, up. Down. That's what I'm saying. All we got to go on is what they show.
Let's
Yeah,
keep it
Peyton-
moving. Let's keep it
I'm
moving.
just gonna say this. Peyton played 18 years.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. We're gonna keep it. I'm gonna jump into this NBA real fast because a couple of things I want to get in before I give you guys your NBA questions, your rapid fire thing. So I'm gonna start with you, T, since I got you up. Looks like there's gonna be a decent chance the Lakers are gonna move Westbrook to a third team, and Donovan Mitchell's gonna land somewhere. Most people over the weekend are still thinking that Mitchell's gonna land in the Knicks, and Russell Westbrook might end up landing in the Nets in Brooklyn or a third team. How are you thinking that this situation is going to happen? Because we all know Pat Beverly is getting ready to sign this deal, which is the domino effect of everything moving. Like, you know what I mean? So, what's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I think that no one right now knows the full trajectory of where everyone is going to land because the holdup is it's almost like Durant too. The holdup is the asking for Mitchell. Now, the same thing that we were frowning upon with somebody else coming to the Knicks trying to take the quick leads and like 4 players and 4 draft picks. We're not doing that right now. This is not 1992 Knicks front office, and they're not doing that right now. And that's the holdup of the Mitchell thing, is that he did want 4 key players and 4 draft picks. They need one more team to come into the mix of this thing to kind of even it out if we're gonna have any type of sense of where everybody's going. But I don't care what happens with this trade. I tell you right now, Westbrook is going somewhere. Even if they got to give him up to 2 JV teams, Westbrook getting the hell out of it.
Yeah, but also I even heard this, Fig, is that there might even be a buyout of Russell Westbrook.
There you go.
There might even be a buyout. And I don't know if there's going to be the largest buyout, but I ain't never heard of a buyout that large. You know, that's a huge buyout if that happens too. What's your take on that, Fig?
No, I mean, there's been some big buyouts in NBA history, man. You got to get it. The one thing that you got to do, you got to give him his money. You know what I mean? That's the one thing the NBA is stuck on their guaranteed contracts. I think he's owed like 42 million, somewhere between 42, 44 million, something crazy like that. But if he gets out of LA and nobody picks him up, they're going to have to pay that money. You know what I mean? I would love to see Donovan Mitchell in New York City, man, but I don't want to give up certain players, man. I mean, to me, a championship team, the core of your championship team has to be built from your draft. If you think of some of the teams that have longevity, they all built from their draft and then put players around them. You know, you got Golden State, Milwaukee, Boston, all of those 3 teams are the top 3, like one of the top 3 teams in the NBA. They all built their core stars from the draft, and they didn't give them up You know what I mean? Just to get another player to be able to come and play on the team. So if you want to have any significance, to your team, hold your core players that look like they have a lot of potential.
Mike, your thoughts?
Russell Westbrook would be playing for the Baghdad Lakers on a dirt court. Yo, the Lakers are trying to trade Russell to anybody. It's so disrespectful, like what's going on right now. Like, I promise you, we're going to see him with a jersey on that has words that we don't know how to read. They're trying to give him away. There's a guy who's going to be a Hall of Famer. And like, they don't even like the disrespect that's going on right now. I'm not saying, we all know he had a horrible season. Even though his numbers don't state that. Like, if you look at his numbers are literally what you should pay somebody 30 million, maybe not 40 million. But yeah, he's going to be out. They're going to buy him out, or they're going to move him somewhere that's going to be so crazy, like Sacramento or something like that. And he's going to be somebody that I think Russell Westbrook done played himself out the Hall of Fame.
Listen, it's what I'm going to throw my Pelican brief out there, and then we're going to move on. My Pelican brief talent is that Russell Westbrook is getting moved from the Lakers because of his contract. I think he's going to do the buyout thing. I think after he does the buyout thing, I think he's going to go back to the Lakers for a much lower contract because he can. And he's worked with he's been working with the new Lakers coach for so much. I can't see them saying, you know what, we're going to wipe our hands at him. You know what I mean? Because they've been talking every day. They've been ever since the new Lakers head coach got hired. I'm like, I literally see them buying him out, let him go. Him doing a buyout with the Lakers. And then coming back to the Lakers so they can have a serious backcourt with him and Pat Bev. That's the way I see it.
It should play for us, Frank. The box seat all-stars. We'll take Russell.
We'll take him. No, we
won't. Did any of us know before last year how bad Russell Westbrook's shooting was? Did any of us know that?
Yeah.
You did, Talent?
Yeah.
We all knew that. We knew that from playing in OKC with Durant. When, those clutch shots that Durant thought should have went to him, that went to Westbrook, that lost a bunch of those big games.
Yeah.
You knew right there he didn't have a consistent jump shot.
But I know. Did you know it was that ugly?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
This season was the worst. There's always been not a good jump shot. Like, I don't bank on his. I thought his strong point was his athleticism and driving to the basket. He was very strong. Yeah. Sort of Marbury-esque, like a new Marbury 2.0. But he should go right next door to the Clippers and regain his. Build his reputation.
He might do that too. So let's keep.
Oh no, I was just gonna say what messed up Russell Westbrook was expectations. You're in a Lakers jersey and you playing with LeBron James. You expected to win a championship, and that shined a bright light on him. And the expectations made his game look horrible.
Yeah, maybe you psyched yourself out.
Yeah,
we do that. We do that at shows. Sometimes we overthink a show, and you're not the guy you normally are because you thought too much. You psyched yourself out.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. T, I always throw these names up since the NBA season hasn't go. I give you the either or. You know what I mean? I'm going to start you with the either or, and I'm going to cut off Mike's mic. We watch the I do the either or. So let me get ready to do that.
Sorry, my bad. Sorry for interacting.
You go first.
For interacting.
Interacting when you ain't supposed to yet. Here you go. You ready? T? You ready, T?
I'm ready.
Carmelo Anthony, in the height of his career, shooting out the lights out, or Reggie Miller?
Oh, Reggie Miller.
What?
Yeah, I'm going Reggie Miller. I'm going to tell you why. He was as good as Melo was. Melo was never as wet as a pause. Never as wet as Reggie Miller. Like, Reggie Miller, probably the most zoned out players we've seen in our lifetime. When he get in the zone as a shooter, like who's giving you a show like that? He's like top, man. I mean, look how long it took for us to start talking like in that same tone for the Ray Allens and the Steph Currys and all that. That's how long he was owning that. I'm gonna go with Reggie Miller, bro.
All right. Fig, Reggie Miller or Ray Allen in the height of their careers?
Dang, man. I'll go with Ray for one reason. A lot of people don't realize before people started focusing on Ray's 3-pointer, Ray was a beast going to the hole. He scored from everywhere. We really know Reggie Miller from that 3-point shot, and Ray could do it all. He was Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Okay. All right. Mike.
He hung his hat on this.
Derrick Rose or Jimmy Butler?
Oh, Derrick Rose. Reggie Miller shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, damn.
Reggie Miller is probably one of the most overrated players ever in history. That was so limited. He had one thing he did.
Wow.
He ran off of picks and
Wow.
he shot 3-pointers. He couldn't D nobody up.
Wow.
And yes, and Derrick Rose is
Mike, can you get back to the Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler and tell me your reason by point, please?
Because Jimmy Butler is never going to be Derrick Rose in his prime. And Derrick Rose in his prime was the most explosive point guard I've ever seen in my life ever play. Like, he was the dude that was literally dunking on LeBron when LeBron was in his prime. Like, Derrick Rose was something like
special.
Like, we'll never understand
Here
how
we
great
go. LeBron.
Y'all ready?
His MVP was so deserved that year that LeBron was scared of him.
All right, okay. I'm gonna ask you all this. Now, this is the question I'm gonna ask everybody. At the point in their career, now I'm starting with you, T. At this particular point in their career, please judge at the point in the career that you know. Michael Jordan at the point of his career versus Len Bias at the point in his career. Collegiate players, because obviously Len Bias never played a pro game.
That's a good question. Wow.
That's tough. I'm gonna have to go with Len Bias for college. You know what I mean? A lot more complete than Mike. I mean, Mike. It's funny because that question you asked us to have ready today. I leave like a Jordan out for the simple fact of some of these guys they already had it, and some of these guys grew into who they would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Len Bias, all the way up until the point we didn't even get to see him really, flourish in the league, but we knew he had it. Like coming out of college. So, and Jordan to me gained a lot in the first 5 to 6 years in the NBA. That's why it took 7, before he could really overcome the other great players. So I would go with Len Bias in college.
Okay, Fig, who would you go in college? Who would you go?
This is kind of scary, and I'm gonna tell you why. I would go with Len Bias, number one. But let me tell you this: I think Dean Smith held Mike back because Mike rookie year in the NBA, he was a phenomenon, and we never saw that in North Carolina. So there's no way that in a couple of months you quantum leap from what we saw in college to what we saw in the NBA. So the only reason Michael Jordan didn't get to be Michael Jordan in college is because Dean Smith had him playing in a system in a certain type of way where he wasn't free enough to do what he did in the NBA. His very first year in the NBA, he was a superstar. Mm-hmm. He was incredible. I got to pick Len Bias because of what we actually saw
at that time.
But I think Dean Smith held Michael Jordan back when he was in college. At that
particular time. I have to agree with you on that one. Michael Sean, before we jump into the last question, go ahead. You get this. You get the question.
Oh, Len Bias. Like it's not even like what Len Bias did. If you YouTube Len Bias right now and you YouTube what he did in college, dog, he was like a dominating, scary player that really took over games and could do everything that you wanted. He could shoot jumpers, he could defend, he could rebound, and like God bless the dead, because that dude was about to do something that was going to be so scary in the NBA that it might have changed history. Like David Stern might have changed everything if Len Bias had played for the Boston Celtics.
Woo!
And actually, like everything we might be talking about different top fives right now.
Yeah, we probably would be. All right, so I think we would be. I know the Celtics would have had a championship or two more than that. But let me talk to you with this one, T. Give me we always talk about franchises this and franchises that. So I asked you guys a question, quick homework question. Give me your top 5 guards that you got to start your franchise with. Your top 5. You only get one of them to start your franchise, but you out of all the NBA players you've seen, past or present, who would be your top 5 that you start guard?
Once again, if I'm starting a franchise around a guard, he got, like I said, he already got to have it. Like I can't be banking on what he may be in the future, and if I work him out with this one, so it's going to be Magic front and center, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul, CP3, Kobe, and Gary Payton.
Okay,
those would be my 5 right there. That you know, as soon as I see them, year 1 and 2, I'm like, yo, let's build around these guys.
Yeah, that's what those are great 5. I like those 5. Greg, give me
me too.
You stupid.
Hey,
He
give me
got 4 on my 5. I'm like, what the fuck? All right, I got Irvin, of course. Irvin, number 1. Isaiah Thomas from the Detroit Pistons. People don't realize how dope that boy was on the offense and the defense. AI, man, Allen Iverson, just because he was that dude. Chris CP3, because he's a floor general. He's a throwback. He can play in any era. And last but not least, because I always hang my hat on you can't win a championship without defense, I went with Gary Payton.
Yeah, okay, all right.
The glove.
I like that. Mike, give me your 5.
All right, I did my homework because I already knew they were gonna take everybody. Obviously, Magic would be on my list, but I'm not putting him on my list. Michael Ray Richardson was probably one of the dopest players, and Magic Johnson himself said he feared playing against him. I would put Dennis Johnson on there.
Yes, sir.
And then I put Rod Strickland. So that's 3. And Mark Price. I'll put Mark Price on there. And I wanted to put John Stockton. I don't know why I found so many white boys that were literally like guards, but
yeah.
But I probably should take John Stockton first, but I'll take Mark Price.
You should have kept it real.
Right.
Mike got a tattoo on his neck of Greg Elo.
That's
hey, Mike.
Hold up. Okay, so I did also have Maurice Cheeks on there because he led a team with the Sixers that literally swept the Lakers.
So find your way to some cheeks, huh?
That's his name.
Only you dudes could do this for me. It never fails. It never fails. All right, so being at the NFL season is getting ready to kick off, man. I meant to send you guys this question and didn't hit send. So I'm not gonna be hard on you guys on this one, but I was gonna ask, give me your 4 final teams to be in the lineup to be in the AFC NFC championship. But because the Super Bowl's not too far away, obviously the NFL season is about to kick off. Just give me a team who you think is going to win the whole thing because we've all seen some NFL preseason games. So give me your team, one team. Tomorrow I ask you the 4 final teams. Give me a one team right now. If you've seen some of these teams play, and you hear some of these, you know what I mean? Give me a team that you know what? I see X, Y, and Z winning the Super Bowl. And tomorrow I'll ask you your 4 final.
I really see AFC. I really see the Bills. And the AFC. And yeah, the whole thing.
The Bills winning the whole thing.
I see the Bills, man. The Bills, to me, they're the team to beat, man. I'm telling you, like, if anybody comes into this season with a chip on the shoulder, it is the Buffalo Bills.
Yep, and it takes them back.
And they got everything they need right now, you know, barring injuries, because we know how the season goes. There's a lot of wear and tear, but barring all that extra stuff and timing of it, let's just say, to me, injuries are a gimme, but what type of injury and the timing of the injury is everything. You know what I mean? So, like, I can have a main piece get hurt and be out 3 weeks, as long as it's week 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean? But once I get to the end, if I got all my peoples, I think the Bills are the team to beat, bro.
So you don't think that punter situation is going to affect them at all with the rate?
It's a punter, Frank.
Huh?
It's a punter.
Okay, all right.
Plus, I heard they already replaced they're going to let the girl who accused them, she's punting that.
Craig, who's your team for the Super? Who's gonna win the whole thing, bro? NFL preseason ended. Get ready to start the season in 2 weeks. Who's your team?
The thing is funny. I couldn't pick the Bills because they just lost their #1 kicker, man. Because the punting is really important in NFL. Yeah. I got the Kansas City Chiefs on the AFC. I had the Kansas City Chiefs, and believe it or not, I think this team got a lot to prove because they had a lot of injuries last year. I got the Baltimore Ravens on the NFC side.
Baltimore Ravens in the AFC. Who's gonna win the Super Bowl?
That's what I said. The AFC.
Yeah. Oh well, no, you just said.
I said now I'm going to the NFC now.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, in the NFC, I got the Rams, and man, it to me is kind of like a toss-up, but I may go with the Cardinals. But in my mind, as a dark horse, I like this the New Orleans Saints. Okay, because I think they're going to do something special.
Who's winning the Super Bowl?
I think Kansas City will do it all.
Okay, Mike, who's winning the Super Bowl?
It won't be an AFC team. They won't win the Super Bowl this year. It's gonna be the Rams again. The Rams are gonna wind up playing Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship, and they're gonna win another chip. And the NFL is gonna love it because of the stadium, the whole thing. But I don't think anybody from the AFC is going to win us. I think they're going to beat each other up so much that they're not going to be able to win the actual chip. Like there's too much competition at this point in the AFC.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think we're gonna get surprised who wins the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I don't think it's gonna be the people who we're looking at. Honestly, it could be the Cincinnati Bengals. Now I want the Patriots to win. I'm rooting for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are gonna do it.
Y'all might not make the playoffs.
I think the Patriots can do it, but I think it's honestly, if I had to put my money on everything else, I think it's going to be a team that we don't see, like a Cincinnati Bengals or.
It might be the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, because
like, honestly, it might be some sleeper team.
Yeah,
that's why I put $100 on everybody.
Frank, with all the controversy with Bill Belichick, who's gonna be the offensive coordinator and all this stuff like that. Mac Jones, you still
think? All strategic. That's all strategic. He's doing that purposely.
Okay.
He doesn't want when two teams get ready to play, right? When the offensive team comes out and everything else, the opposing team automatically knows the style of what you're going to play because of your offensive coordinator. He doesn't want to give you that by knowing, say, okay, because he's that the offensive coordinator, they're going to play this type of style. I know Bill Belichick enough to know that he don't want to give you the tipping of nothing. So he ain't trying to name. So everybody knows.
I can't hear you, T.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that's what it's at.
Frank, you might have the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Or the most underrated quarterback in the NFL.
Okay. All right. Well,
y'all better call Jimmy G. How about that?
Frank, you don't stand a chance in hell.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Not a chance.
No.
Not an Ice Cube's chance in hell, bro.
No, you're confusing us with the Jets. That's the Jets.
Oh, you mean the winning Jets? The winning guys?
The Jets didn't win nothing? What did the Jets win?
The last game yesterday.
That was preseason. They don't count those last time I checked. They don't count. Yeah, they don't count those. Last time.
Hey, we counting preseason this year?
All right.
They don't count preseason.
We've never counted preseason. We've never counted preseason.
Unless I'm wrong. I mean, does it go 18-0 plus 3
No.
preseason? Oh, I didn't think so. Okay, so all right, T, what you got?
So what? Let me ask you real quick, Frank. Real quick. What would it take for Bill Belichick to get fired? Like, what would he have to for him to get fired? Because I know he's won all them chips.
He would have to get caught massaging Robert Kraft.
Even then, he would get fired. Even then, he would get fired.
No,
he'd have to have
real.
It'd have to be a medical procedure for him to get fired.
If y'all don't make the playoffs this year, then what's the
excuse? Let me bring up how hypocritical you guys were just now. With
y'all are insane.
Hold on, you just said the most hypocritical thing. Right? You just said preseason don't count, right? But then you just said Patriots look good, we're gonna do whatever. You know why you think that? It's because
I said,
you're watching your Patriots in preseason to give you the notion to think you could do something.
No, not for the preseason. From last year, I'm basing it on not preseason. I don't care about preseason. I'm basing it on he took Mac Jones, the only rookie QB coming out of the league. He took them to the playoffs, following the same team that lost all their high profile free agent signings. He took
so what would have to happen for Bill Belichick to get fired? Like, what would have to happen?
I told you he had to have an epileptic seizure. He ain't getting. You're not firing the greatest winning coach in all NFL history. You're not firing.
I like Talent's answer better.
I guarantee you, if you kick a door in and they both got their shirt off, and Bill Belichick is doing this to Robert Kraft, I guarantee you his ass is out of here.
All right, I'll take a bet right now. Right now, from all three of you all, I'll take a bet right now, on record right now.
A Pepsi, right? A Pepsi from me. What? How about a case?
I bet each one of you all $100 right now. The Patriots make the playoffs.
No.
Okay, so if I'm down. I'm down to make a. I'm always down for
I'll bet you
wager.
$100 the Patriots make the playoffs.
But my thing is,
okay,
what if they don't? So what does that mean? If
I
they
lose $100, that's what it means.
No. Well, he still won't get fired. He has no pressure.
What are you talking about? He has no any pressure.
If you just make it a little more interesting, Frank.
$100 the Patriots make the playoffs, and you take it.
Frank, make it a little more interesting. If you bet
how much more interesting is that? I'm betting one versus three people.
I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Not just make the playoffs. If you win that first game.
Okay, I'll take that too.
I'll take 100 on that.
Okay.
I'll take 100. Yeah, I'm in.
That.
I'm in.
All right, I'll be in.
Yeah.
I'm collecting $300.
Wait a minute, man. Where you get all this new money from is what I want to know.
It's from his collar. It's his collar.
You finally get a man a bet and you want to
I don't trust Frank, man. I'm calling Bernadette, man.
No.
Frank hit the lottery and he ain't telling us.
I'm taking that bet because I'm that confident that not only they're gonna make the playoffs, they're gonna win their first playoff.
But you didn't answer my question. What would happen? What has to happen for Bill Belichick to get fired?
I said it 3 times. He got to have a seizure. You didn't hear me? He got to have a seizure.
No, but in real life, like what in football?
In real life.
So that means it doesn't matter what he does.
It doesn't. First of all, Bill Belichick is the all-time winningest coach in the league. He won with the Giants before he even got to the Patriots. He's not getting fired. He's just not.
He got 2 with the Giants. And he got 6 with the Patriots.
He got 6 with the Patriots, and could have had 9 with the Patriots.
You know, Tom Brady got turned down by the Raiders, right? Everything can happen.
That has nothing to do with Bill Belichick. You didn't ask me about Belichick and Tom Brady. You just asked me about Bill Belichick. So
it doesn't matter if he have to have 3 straight losing seasons.
Yep. But he's not even going to coach that long. He ain't even coach that long. I think he's going to coach maybe another 2 years. He's 79 years old. 77.
You really love this dude in real life. You really do.
No, I don't. I'm giving you the fact. I'm giving you the fact.
Bill Belichick got to get caught with some right guard under his left arm.
Bill Belichick could have a Ku Klux Klan hoodie on.
No. Tell everybody out there.
Frank would be like, well, that's his opinion.
Hey, yo, you follow me, everybody, on my Instagram, Talented Comedian, NY King Talent on Facebook, and on Twitter, and it's just comedy. And, have my $100, man.
All right, I just want to ask you this before I roll up out of here. Who's your team this season, Mike? Who's your team?
The Giants.
And who's your team, T?
Jets.
And your team, T, Fake?
You know my team, man.
Who's your team? Say it on Fake. Who's your team?
The
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Right. Y'all talk all this trash. The Patriots going to be better than the Jets, the Giants, and the Steelers.
Period. Who beat y'all twice in the Super Bowl? Who beat y'all twice in the Super Bowl?
Giants.
Thank you.
Okay.
So slow down.
Okay, y'all won.
Slow down. Slow down.
Y'all got 7. So I ain't slowing down. Y'all got 7. So
slow down because we beat y'all 3 straight times. We beat y'all in the Super Bowl twice and once in Foxborough.
Okay,
go ahead, wrap it up. I know you want to wrap it up.
All right, but would you rather take 7 or 2? I don't care how you.
We got 5. What are you talking about? 2.
We got you got in the entire existence. Yeah, y'all got 5. We still got 7. Still more than 5. Last time I checked.
Stop. Okay. All right.
But it ain't against the Giants though, Frank. Y'all got 0.
We ruined y'all. We ruined y'all.
See, I gotta leave because everybody's texting me.
At Mike Sean Comedy. Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
We ruined y'all.
Yeah.
We did.
Before we leave, your follow.
Yeah, at Comedian Fig on social media platform.
I love arguing with y'all. I can't wait for the season to start, y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's see if the button sticks.